Peoples, good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and whether you clicked on some random guy's video or you know me personally, it is all good and welcome back. You just stepped into another chat in the Chocolate Milk Corner, hosted by none other than your boy, Chocolate Milk Poppy. Okay, before we get into what's going on here, one or a couple quick things. Your boy has been having some serious technical difficulties lately. That's why it's been taking me so long to put out another video. And that's kind of, I'm still in the midst of technical difficulties right now. But trust me, as I'm working on other things and working on other projects, I am trying to get this thing cleared and fixed. Like, it's going to take a little minute, you guys. So please do me a favor and bear with me, okay? Now, outside of that, you guys are in for a little bit of a treat today. Okay, so if you don't already know, I cover everything over here on this channel. It's still a new channel, a baby channel, but nonetheless, we're covering a lot of entertainment. From comic books to, well, I guess I was about to say superheroes, but comic books and superheroes, that's pretty much the same thing. Television, music, we do a little bit of it all. The only thing I probably don't do is sports right now, but stay tuned. So, if you caught my last video, it was a mashup between, or like a what if scenario between the Power Rangers and the Vampire Diaries. Like I stated before, if Disney can have their own what if series, then I can start my own, and I'm doing it here on this channel. And as you may have noticed, I got a cool little show in the background. If you didn't catch it, or most of it, it's the Justice League, which brings me to our latest mashup today. But the thing is, it came to me the other night. I don't know why I'm, obsessed with the Vampire Diaries. I love the Vampire Diaries. All my closest friends will tell you that I love the Vampire Diaries, okay? But it got me thinking, what if the Vampire Diaries were lanterns from the DC comic books? So, I'm going to have to explain to, I know there are a lot of people who are going to come here that do know comic books, know DC, but I got a lot of people who probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about, so I'm going to have to go ahead and take a minute to break some things down. If you know the Vampire Diaries, you know the Vampire Diaries. If you don't know the Vampire Diaries, that one's a little bit harder to explain. You're going to have to go catch a synopsis somewhere, or like, I don't know where you've been at in the last like decade and some change if you don't know anything about the Vampire Diaries, okay? However, let me break down this lantern thing that I'm talking about. Some of you may know who the Green Lantern is, right? From DC. But for those of you who don't read comic books, who don't watch the cartoons or anything like that, there is more to a Green Lantern than a Green Lantern. There's actual multiple colored lanterns. There's an emotional spectrum for individual powers. There's orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, pink, and white and black. I might be missing one or two, but that's okay because we're covering each one. With that being said, they all cover different emotional, like I said, they're on the emotional spectrum. So they cover different emotions. They get your powers from different emotions, different feelings. Another note that you guys who don't really read comic books should know. Most lanterns, some lanterns, can transition depending on I don't want to say their mood, but depending on where they are in life, they can transition from one color to another color. So from one main emotion to the next main emotion. And I will break that down too. Now, I know you're probably wondering, which characters am I using from the Vampire Diaries? Because they have so many characters, I'm going to stick to our main characters and a couple characters who were, I don't want to use the word recurring, but characters who kind of did leave some type of imprint on the Vampire Diaries. Again, if you guys like this video, you drop it in the comments, then I have no problem picking out other characters because, like I said before and 1,000 times, like there are a bunch of characters in the Vampire Diaries universe. A lot of them did make big splashes, but only a few of them really like made a mark and left their names on it. This part is going to be for the ones who don't understand comic books and the ones who know comic books. We're going to take a look as we go into each lantern and each color. Each one has their own oath. So I'll give you the color, I'll break down their oath, I'll break down like what really gives them power, and then we're gonna go ahead and figure out who's gonna fit into that category. So you guys buckle up and let's get straight into it. I got my notes that I'm gonna be looking back and forth from, you guys. So if it looks like my eyes are wandering, that's just me looking at notes and coming back to you guys. Let's start with one of the least known, or not least known, but a core that does not have very many members in the first place. So we're going to start off with the Orange Lantern Corps, okay? Be it brightest day or darkest night, I lay claim to all within my sight. The power is mine, this orange light, to take all that I want, as is my right. Now, the Orange Lantern Corps, their main emotion is like avarice. Think of it as maximum level greed, maximum level obsession, possession. You know what I mean? Pretty much the ultimate greed. In the comic books, there is only one member of the Orange Lantern Corps, and that's because he's so greedy, he's not sharing the power. The Orange Lantern Corps, as of right now, in my book, has 3 members in rotation. So because this greed is such, obsession, possession, they're not sharing this power at all. At this point, it's going to be one person at a time. First person up, if you haven't guessed it, is Catherine Pierce, Katerina Petrova. Listen, I love Catherine, but she fits this. When Catherine is in survival mode, I mean straight up survival mode, there is nothing that you can do or say to her. There's no deal that you can make. She's going to be shady. She's going to be shisty. She's going to do whatever she needs to do. There's been times when she's helped out, but again, it was for her own personal gain. So, yeah. Remember the whole Moonstone thing? And she was on the hunt for the Moonstone to buy her life back from Klaus, or any other time she's been in a jam when she stole Elena's life multiple times. That's her being super selfish. That's her being super greedy. And she was willing to do anything very cutthroat to get to that point. She's going to get to the top no matter what. This ring, this group, this core, this one fits her almost perfectly. I got her in a couple other categories too, so relax. The second greediest person, if you ask me, in the Vampire Diaries universe is Silas. Yes, Silas. If you guys watched the show multiple times, just like how I did, then you remember Silas. Was he a bastard? He sure was. He is a very much hated character. He is the original of the doppelgangers of Stefan from way back when. Silas wants what he wants no matter the cost. Silas cheated on his whole wife with her handmaiden so that he and her could get the immortality spell that his wife, Ketsia, we'll get into her later, that she made in order for him to be with his beloved. He trapped Stefan, threw him in that lake for a whole summer, harmed a lot of people in Mystic Falls just for the sake of practicing his powers and making sure that everybody knew that he could get jiggy, he could get down like that. I have one more, and he might be a tie for Silas. I know I said number 2 is Silas, but Silas might be number 3. My third person might actually be number 2. And that's Kai Parker. If you know Kai Parker, you know Kai Parker. Quick recap on Kai. We got introduced to him in season 6? He is the twin of Joe, who was dating and eventually was engaged to Alaric. He was introduced in a prison world, and if you remember, the reason he got placed in that prison world, he slaughtered all of his siblings. Slaughtered all of his siblings in one night. Crazy. Crazy. Just to come back later down the line and slaughter all of the Gemini Coven later, just so that he could be the top dog and be the leader of the Gemini Coven. Actually, he wanted to be the leader of the Gemini Coven. When he realized that he got played again, he got rid of the entire Coven so that he could be the last one standing and be the strongest one. He actually turned out to be a real problem in the Vampire Diaries for a little bit until he was neutralized. If there is a rotation, he's definitely the next one up before he has to get rid of those powers. Or actually, we'll call him number 3 just because of how they appeared on camera. So let's say Catherine was there first. She got dealt with the first time around, let go of the ring. Silas came. He ended up with the Orange Lantern ring. He came and went. That ring went somewhere else. Kai popped back up into reality. And then boom, Silas got the ring. Kai got the ring. All right, let's move on to the one that everybody knows, the easiest one, the Green Lantern. In brightest day and blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. For those of you who do not know, the Green Lantern, they get their power from sheer willpower. You just can't wake up and be a Green Lantern. You got to be one of those guys who has, and for a prime example, when I say this next, you got to be somebody who has absolute discipline. Discipline over your mind, body, spirit, everything in your life, you got to have discipline over it. For an example, 2 of our main lanterns in the DC comic books, the first one, well, he's not the first one, but the one that people tend to know a whole lot, Hal Jordan was in the Air Force. The next one, the black one, the one that you probably see on the TV, that's John Stewart. his background story is that he was in the Marine Corps. So then you have two military men, and for those of you who have been in the military, such as myself, that you know there's a level of discipline that comes, and that you just have to learn. So I know what you guys are wondering. Well, who the hell in the Vampire Diaries counts as a Green Lantern? Oh, I got a handful of them. The first one, and stick with me, is Stefan Salvatore. Listen, Stefan may pop up again, but Stefan does have a lot of willpower. The thing is, we've seen it. We've seen it before. Stefan does a good job over the years of not feeding on human blood, keeping his Ripper side at bay, having some type of discipline. He's even able to teach new vampires these things. When Elena became a vampire and Caroline, he was willing to step up and teach them how to maintain being a vampire in modern day or in broad daylight. He has a dark side that he constantly battles, and yes, he loses those battles. I'm not gonna say often or quite often, but definitely turns his emotions off. God, I hate when he does that. He does, like I said before, he battles his dark side quite often, and a lot of the times he does win. Like I said before, Stefan does easily get influenced by a lot of different like villains that come along. I say a lot, but it's really been like Klaus, maybe Damon every now and then, and maybe a little bit of Catherine every now and then. So of course he wouldn't stay a Green Lantern for very long, but he's not the only Green Lantern in Mystic Falls. Ooh, I am about to piss y'all off. The other one is Matt Donovan. I'm an avid Matt defender at this point. I watched the Vampire Diaries as a teenager, and I didn't like Matt. I watched the Vampire Diaries in my early 20s. I didn't like Matt. As I got a little bit older and smack in the middle of adulthood, and I started paying bills and having real life happen, and I rewatched the Vampire Diaries, I understood Matt. And for some reason, the rest of y'all don't. I don't know why y'all don't. If you pay bills, if you got a job, if you're trying to keep life afloat, I don't understand why you wouldn't understand Matt. You know what I mean? This fool, all he was trying... The show starts off with Matt having a job because his mom couldn't keep up with the bills. His sister was on drugs, and his dad was nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Oh. And on top of that, all of his best friends are witches, werewolves, vampires, everybody who's kind of dangerous and destructive to the town that he lives in and he loves. Now, granted, one storyline that I'm going to mention is a storyline no one likes Matt about. But remember when he was like really badly injured and Elena was about to give him some of her blood, and he was like, nah, I can't say I hate vampires, but take their blood. Everybody hated that, but to keep it real with you, in a DC comic book world, that's willpower. That's really strong willpower, and that's what would have made him a Green Lantern, and probably a really good one. It's like a silent strength type of deal. He knows that he has these friends and he has these loyalties to them. He knows that he has this loyalty to his town. But the thing is, he's not really willing to compromise or go back on a lot of things that he believes in and let himself be compromised, like how I said Stefan would. He'll stand on his moral ground, but he's okay with at least helping out because he does still recognize that these aren't just people that I know. These are people that I grew up with or that have been in my life for a significant amount of time, or simply off the fact that I want to keep my loved ones and my home safe. Even as time went on and he realized that his father was alive and out there, he wasn't he was tripping a little bit, but he wasn't tripping. He wasn't mad. He didn't let that break him. He used that and still was like, we're going to keep going with what we got going on. My dad is just here and he's a part of the plan now. Oh, well. You guys are not going to like it, but Matt has he stood on business quite a few times. Did he mess around with a couple vampires? Sure, Rebecca being the one, Nadia being the other. Ooh, he had a summer. He had a summer, didn't he, boy? He was having a ball. And he didn't even know Nadia was a vampire, but Matt was doing his big one. But what happened? When he came back to Mystic Falls, is business as per usual. We got shit to do and to handle. I gotta defend Matt. How can you say? He's just not one to really fold like that. He's really standing on, his beliefs and his business. I mean, it gets him to the point where at the end of the Vampire Diaries, towards the end, he joins the police force, right? The police force gets taken out of there by the heretics, and he could have quit. He could have folded then. He could have done a bunch of stupid stuff. He did not. He chose not to. And eventually that led him being the sheriff of Mystic Falls. And I just feel like I said before, two of our main Green Lanterns have been military men. So for Matt to be on the police force, it kind of, ends up being on the police force. It ends up being the sheriff. It does kind of go hand in hand with what I was talking about as far as lore goes. And I mean, you could be mad at me all day, but go back and rewatch it and tell me that I'm lying about some of this stuff. You can't. We're moving on. I got two more. One is kind of shaky, and that's Alaric Saltzman. Alaric has shown, I say shaky, but I think he kind of stands on business as well. I do think that Alaric has gone through so much. He has really, we can't get this man a love life without the love of his life either leaving him or being taken up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Isabel, which is Elena's biological mom, left him to go be a vampire, and he thought that she had got taken out of there by Damon. Jenna was taken up out of there, and he was madly in love with this woman. And the next love of his life didn't come for like 4 seasons, which was Jo, and she was annihilated by her twin brother Kai at their wedding while she was pregnant with their twins. But Alaric stayed down. He stayed true. He stayed loyal to the soil. He took care of like his little pseudo kids, Jeremy and Elena. He really made sure they were protected. He does take Hope in, which is Klaus's daughter, if you don't know. And if you don't know, that's stupid. Go watch the show. I'm not even, spoilers around here, damn it. Go watch the damn show. But yeah, Alaric has done a great job at taking kids in, raising kids right, protecting them, teaching them how to protect themselves. Is he a military man or some type of serviceman? No, but he stayed true to hunting vampires. He stayed true to getting answers to the questions that he had. Are those things that contribute to being a Green Lantern? No, but the way that he conducted himself afterwards, like I said, he could have folded. He could have became a villain and a real problem for everybody at some point. Throughout all of that, he, like I said, he kept his head up. He kept his eyes on the prize. He really decided that he was going to stay strong in these situations, in these scenarios, and you know, he really pushed through and persevered. I got one more for you guys. Bonnie Bennett. 100% Bonnie Bennett. Funny because if you watch my last video about the Power Rangers, I said Bonnie was like the Green Ranger, and oddly enough, I do believe she could be a Green Lantern. Now, again, like I said, keep in mind, people can rotate out, people can change colors, so keep that in mind. Listen, do I really have to break it down? Her grandmother, her mother, her father, her best friends, a couple of guys that she liked. Do we really got to go into detail? I will hope we don't, but I'm going to do it a little bit anyways. Listen, we've seen the hell that Bonnie went through from the moment that she found out she was a witch, okay? If it wasn't her vampire friends trying to use her for spells, it was the ops trying to use her for spells. And then it's like, she's a different type of Green Lantern because she's one that grew into it, because in the beginning she was a little insecure. She was always kind of scared. She knew that these vampires and these older vampires could easily overpower her, and at some point she really gained the confidence of being a witch. She died, for crying out loud. She came back. She died again. She came back. She died again. And what does she always do? She comes back to Mystic Falls. She comes back to her friends. She comes back to really like step on people and step on some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, she just is. She's just that kind of girl. Despite losing a lot of people, mostly her grandmother, I feel like was kind of over Elena, right? Her father, not really. Her father was just a casualty, pretty much. And then her mother pretty much was the same thing. She was the end result of a bad plan. And a lot of the times, a lot of the grief that Bonnie has gone through, it has tied back to Elena. But instead of turning her back on Elena and turning her back on the rest of her friends, like I would have did. Any of my friends watching this, if I was Brian Bennett and we lived in the same town together, and all of that stuff that Bonnie went through, I went through, I wouldn't be, no. I'd be the complete opposite of what she was. I'd be the problem that you guys would have. So keep that in mind. Yeah, Bonnie went through a whole lot, and she, again, just like Alaric, just like Matt, like I stated, she got through it all. She continued to make herself stronger mentally. She continued to make herself stronger physically, magically. She continued to put herself in harm's way, in dangerous path, to protect her friends and make a plan and make sure the plan was executed properly. She stuck to her morals too. Her and Matt are two, you know what? And y'all really gonna hate this next statement, and I'm gonna move on. Her and Matt should have been a couple. All right, we're moving on. But yes, those are my top choices for Green Lanterns and Mystic Falls. I don't really think anybody else, any other characters, had as much willpower as what these 4 that I mentioned. The other colors are not bad colors. This one in particular is just the one where you really have to like reach deep down inside of yourself and ask yourself, what are you made of, and push it out there. I don't feel like a lot of the other characters did, and if they did, it produced different emotions, which would, give them different power sets. Now, the very opposite is the Yellow Lantern Corps, but it's not really referred to as a Yellow Lantern Corps in the comic books. It's referred to as the Sinestro Corps. For those of you who don't know, I'm gonna explain it real quick. Sinestro was a character who was a part of the Green Lanterns, right? But he turned his back on the Green Lanterns, got kicked out, and then eventually he created his own core, which the color was based off of yellow. Which back in the old days, that was like the weakness to the Green Lanterns. But I think later on down the line, it just became like the ops for the Green Lantern instead of like the color yellow being a weakness. I think they felt like it was kind of stupid. And black as day and bright as night, beware your fears, made into light. Let those who try to stop what is right burn like his power, Sinestro's might. Boom, fear. Their power is fear. They will use your own fear against you. They like to strike fear in the heart of people. And if you like succumb to that fear, all you're doing is fueling their why did I forget that? All you're doing is fueling their power and gassing them up. There are a few people who could actually end up on this list, but I didn't have time, like I said, to go through all of the characters, so I picked my top 3. Number 1 is Catherine Pierce. I told you that girl wasn't gonna stay in one color. And come on, be real. She's a master manipulator. People legit are scared of Catherine. Look, our main core might not be scared of Catherine, but when she do step on the scene, you can't tell me they don't dookie in their pants just a little bit. She always catches them by surprise, which kind of always scares them just a little bit. I love it when she pretends to be Elena and they figure it out in the last second because you can see their heart literally drop. And I'm telling you, she probably traded that orange one, and instead of being all greedy and shisty, she realized I can make people scared. I'm good at it. And because I'm good at it, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna continue to do it. Like, she does strike fear in people's hearts, if you ask me. Especially strangers who don't know her, especially people, some people don't even get the chance to be scared. Sometimes she take them people straight up out of there, you know what I'm saying? But knowing Catherine, she never sticks with one thing for too long. She will eventually probably rotate that ring out, or that might even be the last ring that she does obtain. Maybe. The next one again is Kai Parker. Again, this is just my head canon. Kai probably traded up that orange one, or he probably started off with the yellow one. Because keep in mind, like I said, he slaughtered his whole family that night. He had fun doing it. Everybody in that house was terrified of him before they got got. So it would make sense that he also would be fueled by the Yellow Lantern Corps, or the Sinestro Corps. Excuse me, sorry y'all. Don't judge me. Even when he was stuck in the prison world with Bonnie, while she was ready to take him on, she also did get a little bit scared of him as well. That was the scariest scenario. I almost said Sinestro. That was a scary scenario. That was a scary situation that she was in. Coming out into the real world, immediately his living siblings, Joe, Liv, and Luke were immediately scared of him. His parents were scared of him. And I guarantee that the rest of the coven who was a part of putting him in that prison world immediately scared. So he probably realized that that energy of being just greedy probably wasn't as strong as he needed it to be. But the fear that he wanted from people and the fear that he got from people is probably what really gassed him up and made him decide that he wanted to trade up on rings. Or trade up on powers, however you want to see it. And I got one more, but this one's just for fun. He really wasn't supposed to be on the list, but like, it's Klaus Michelson, Nee Klaus himself. I was gonna do the original separately, and I am. I'm gonna do the originals on like a different thing. But come on, man, I had to mention Klaus. Big stepper, come on, man. I don't even need to. It's Klaus. It's Nee Klaus. Niggas dookie on themselves when they hear his name. They like even me. If I lived in New Orleans and somebody said, "Hey, did you know Klaus Michelson moved back in town?" Who? Pack my bags. Pack my mama's bags. Pack my daddy's bags. We're out of here. We're gone. We're moving to Cincinnati. Matter of fact, we're moving to Florida, where I'm from. You feel me? We're going to a beach. Cause that Klaus, no, at all. And to keep it real with you, a lot of his siblings deserve that. Cole would get that as well. Yeah, come on, man. It's Klaus. Every time Catherine was scared of him. Catherine was on the run for 500 years from this man, right? Tyler, as badly as Tyler wanted to have one up on Klaus, he knows he was scared of him. He ran too. Literally, how many characters have ran and been on the run from Klaus for X amount of time? Plenty of them. How many of them tried to hide from Klaus? Plenty of them. This man literally smirks and thrives on fear. And side note, this list, everybody on this list is lucky that this isn't like a mug off list about who got the best mug, because Klaus is eating everybody up with one smirk. Klaus is eating everybody up with one smirk, okay? Like he's got the thing. He's just got his own siblings can be scared of him sometimes because they know if they say the wrong thing, except for Elijah. Excuse me, except for Elijah. That's my boy. But They know if they say the wrong thing, they could possibly end up with a dagger in the heart or being chased down or being ran down on. And they may not be like full fledged like scared of him, but there's definitely some fear behind that. They know that they know that's a problem that they don't always want to deal with. The next one that a lot of people may not know about, we're going straight into the Red Lantern Corps. With blood and rage of crimson red, ripped from a corpse so freshly dead, together with all our hellish hate, will burn you all. That is your fate. Listen, them boys thrive off of straight rage, straight anger, straight pissed offity. You ever pissed a nigga off and they like, excuse me, you ever been pissed off by somebody and you thought you let it go and then you see them 3 years down the line and you be like, wow, you're square up. Yeah, that's these dudes. That's how they operate. And guess who's the first one on this list? Tyler Lockwood. He's a werewolf, for crying out loud. Werewolves naturally have the rage built in them. That's why they're cursed in the first place, because if they take somebody out of there, that's how their werewolf gene is triggered in the first place, because they get pissed off so easily. If you watch the Vampire Diaries, the originals, legacies, you realize that that is a trend with all new like werewolves. They get pissed off very easily. That's how they, and then they make a stupid mistake. That's how they get their gene triggered. And even after it gets triggered, they still show a lot of rage. On top of that, just look at what Tyler dealt with. In the end of the first season, his dad was taken up out of there. And then Klaus took his mother out of the game. And then Caroline messed around with Klaus. Caroline! Ah! Tyler had a lot of rage, a lot of anger, and had a lot of right to be mad at a lot of people. You know what I mean? The lore in my mind is that eventually he learns how to let that stuff go, because as we get to the end of the series, those last couple seasons, his vendetta with Klaus starts to die away. He really starts to lean on his friends again. He starts to be a little bit normal again, especially after his werewolf gene has been reversed and he's back to being a regular human. He really learns how to pull back and calm down. So eventually he does let the anger go. And obviously, if you let the anger go, you let the rage go, you can't really be the holder of any angry powers, right? And that just happens. That's growth. There is growth and there's progression and there is regression. I would say Damon Salvatore, but in the first season, and really not the whole first season, like the very beginning. The very beginning and flashbacks when he's still angry with Stefan, angry with his father, especially when he found out Catherine wasn't in that damn tomb. Need I say more? He was pissed. He was pissed at the world for that one. Catherine not being in that tomb sent him over the Richter scale. Klaus being able to best him and whoop his behind, that one pissed him off too. But that didn't piss him off to the point where he could go back to being rage again, you know? And eventually, same thing with Tyler. He eventually started to get over that rage. He eventually started to grow and become a different person, especially when he was in that time frame of him getting ready to get with the Lamb. Mind you, he did get angry a few times and like do that thing where he snapped Jeremy's neck, and that was very childish and immature. But let's just say that he was still in his full swing of Red Lantern hangout, you know? And then the last one, this one also wasn't supposed to be on the list, but I'm throwing him in there just to throw him in there. Michael Michelson, the father of the Michelson siblings. Come on, man. He literally, between the Vampire Diaries and the originals, he hated them kids. The only kid that he didn't hate was Freya. And again, I'm trying to keep a lot of the original stuff that way, but he hated them kids. And specifically, he hated Klaus. They say he hated Klaus, but I don't think he liked none of them. Everybody knows that he hated Klaus, but I don't think he liked none of their asses, if you ask me. I don't think he liked his wife, them kids. I don't think he liked the dog. If they had one, they probably did, and he got rid of that damn thing too. Elena, he really tried to pull up on Elena as a baby and take her out because he knew she was the doppelganger. Despite Klaus, I don't need to say no more. That man was gonna be president of the Red Lantern Corps. President of it. He wasn't letting that hate go for no reason. I had to throw him in there. I had to throw him a dub, okay? The next one I'm going to go into is the Star Sapphire Corps. For hearts long lost and full of right, for those alone in blackest night, accept our ring and join our fight. Love conquers all with violet light. Star Sapphire or the Violet Corps. If you cool and you a nerd, it's Star Sapphire. I know if you cool and you a nerd, they go hand in hand. Star Sapphires, okay? It's really only one Star Sapphire, but we're not even gonna get into all of that. That's too much for the people who don't know, y'all. But their emotion is love. Their emotion is love, but the thing is that they can be heroes or villains. It's almost like love motivates them so much that they do dangerous things. They make bad choices sometimes. Sometimes the love drives them to make really good decisions and become heroes and really learn how to protect people. But sometimes, and everybody's been there at some point where you had somebody that just made you want to do stupid stuff or dangerous stuff, depending on who you are, who that person was. The first one I'm throwing in there is Enzo. And from the jump, Enzo had, I'm including his backstory too. Enzo had a lot of love for a lot of people. And it drew him, or it caused him to do a lot of crazy things. Like the first person that we know that he really did love was, what's Stefan and Damon's raggedy ass mama name? Lily Salvatore. And I hate that because that's my grandmother's name. He did love her, and when he thought that when she got trapped in that prison world with the other heretics, and he thought she up and abandoned him after turning him into a vampire, he lost his mind for a little bit. He was really still upset with her when she first came back, and I know that he has a lot of pent up anger and stuff like that. But the thing is, so you guys would think that he would be a Red Lantern, but I don't think he was ever angry enough or raged out enough to do that. Because even when he was trapped as an Augustine vampire, he fell in love with the nurse that was there. He fell in love with Damon, and not in love like romantically. He fell into a brotherly, like companion type of love with Damon, and he was betrayed by Damien. He was betrayed by Damon. He felt betrayed by Lily, and a lot of that love drove him to do very impulsive things and make bad choices. One being turning off his emotions when it came to Damon. And then when you fast forward and he starts to date Bonnie and they're together and they're a couple, that's the other part of the love. That's the one time where he didn't feel betrayed. He felt comfortable. He felt the love back that he deserved as well throughout the years. He loved to dance. He loved art. So I think he found love in little things in life. But I think Bonnie sealed the deal for that. And that's what really made him decide, like, I'm turning over a new leaf. And he really became a hero. RIP to my boy. But he might be back. Just chill out. I think he's the best example of a Star Sapphire because he shows everything that I just got done explaining. Like the extreme matters that, and dangerous matters that love can make you do. But the very gentle and kind side to it as well. The side that makes you want to protect other people, not lash out at people, if that makes sense. The next one is Caroline. Which is funny, again, because in my last video, Caroline was a Pink Ranger. She does have that motherly instinct for everybody. She does have a deep love for everybody that she met, except for Damon for a while. And also Enzo. She didn't like Enzo at first either, but he grew on her. She just has, and Klaus too, like I said, despite messing around with him when she was with Tyler, that should have been your op, because that was your boyfriend's op, but that's not my business. That's not my business. I'm just a guy in another city, But despite all of that, Caroline has the ability to see the best in people. And when she does that, she really does like accept you, or at least tolerates you, and she tries to look out for you and tries to look out for the little person too. So I don't always count her for everything else, but I do feel like the Star Sapphire group, she would have been really good in that group, especially because while Enzo goes through all of the spectrums, or both ranges that I was just speaking about, Caroline does really have the one. The only time that it really took her overboard is when she was grieving after she lost her mom. R.I.P. to Liz. R.I.P. to Liz. R.I.P. to Liz. Even outside of that and turning her emotions back on, the love that she had for her friends, that brought her back in. That made her turn her emotions back on. And then she became a mom, and to my knowledge, there's no greater love than becoming a mother. And she really defended them and protected those girls. Now, where was she at during Legacies? That's another story for Julie Plec. And the last one that I have in that category, and he's kind of sometimey as well, again, is Stefan Salvatore. The guy is soft-hearted, you know what I mean? The guy loves a lot of things. He really loved his mother. He really loves his brother. He loved Elena. He loves his friends. Even after him and Elena weren't in love anymore, there was still solid love. They still knew that they could come back to each other and rely on each other and, depend on each other. Even with Catherine, he knew he didn't like that woman. He knew he didn't want no business with that woman. But he still saw the best in her. He saw who he used to know. Same with Rebecca. He soft-hearted man. There was a point in time where him and Klaus was cool. Granted, his emotions were off, but him and Klaus were thick as thieves. Stefan has a way of being friends with people who you probably wouldn't realize had friends or needed a friend. Stefan has a knack for caring about people in a different way. And honestly, it's like, while he can be annoying, he's a good person to have on your side. And he just has one of those big hearts. Like he's got a lot of love to share. He's very sensitive. He's almost like Enzo in a sense, because he'll feel betrayal very deep, and it makes him do stupid stuff too sometimes. But at the end of the day, he's done more positive things than he has negative things. And believe you me, it took a lot for me to say the way I feel about Matt, I low key feel about Stefan. So it takes a lot for me to do my research again and really give Stefan his props. Okay, we're moving on. The next group we're going to talk about is the Blue Lantern Corps. In fearful day, in raging night, with strong hearts full, our souls ignite. When all seems lost and without light, look to the stars, for hope is bright. The Blue Lantern Corps operates on absolute hope. They operate off of something good is gonna happen, no matter how bad the situation looks. And there are a handful of people in the Vampire Diaries universe who fit that category. Elena, Bonnie, and Caroline, my bad. Actually, I meant to say Bonnie for the Yellow Lantern Corps, and also Bonnie for the Sinestro Corps. And I had to backtrack really quick. For the Sinestro Corps, it's not everybody, but everybody should be scared of Bonnie when she's at her peak. Keep in mind, when they came at her and she's been at her peak, and she wasn't playing no games, she had nothing to lose, or she didn't care about losing nothing, they got bent up. They got folded up every time. When Elena had her emotions on and she thought she was going to roll up on Bonnie, and Bonnie had to roll back up on her, Elena was scared. Remember, that was the first emotion that Elena felt, and Bonnie had to come back. Also, I would have put Bonnie in rage as well because she's got a lot of pent up anger. She's got a lot of pent up anger, and she has the right to be all those emotions that she's had before. Yes, willpower, but yes, I feel like she had the right to rage out on people. She got too much power and too many negative emotions. Also, I would have put her in the Star Sapphire group as well because she loves just as hard as everybody else. She turned that man Enzo from a pauper to a prince. She took Jeremy's little cheating ass back, and he was too young for her, and he was cheating on her with a ghost. But nonetheless, that girl still loved everybody. She loved deeply. She really did. And as far as the Blue Lantern Corps goes, sorry we had to come back to it, boomerang. I put Elena, Caroline, and Bonnie in that category because, boom, Elena lost a lot. We start the show off a few months after she lost her parents, right? She kept pushing. She lost Stefan when he turned his emotions off. She kept pushing. Every time she lost one of her friends to them turning their emotions off or to them passing away, unfortunately, she's kept it pushing. She's kept it strong for her brother. She's kept it strong for the rest of her friends. While she knows that they're in a bad situation, she will make the best of the bad situation and really try to band everybody together and really try to keep pushing forward because she knows and has understood all that grief in her life. At a young age, she understood that you have to keep moving. You got to keep putting one. I think that's like one of her first lines in the first episode is that she realizes that she's got to keep going day by day, putting one foot in front of the other. Caroline is the same way. As bad as things have gotten, she has always tried to look at the silver lining, if you will. She's always trying to help somebody feel better. She tried to, when Elena's emotions were off, she was trying to help Elena realize the good parts of life. Same with Stefan. She's gonna put herself out there. When Bonnie was going through it, I know people like to say that Caroline wasn't a good friend, but keep in mind that Caroline was a mom at the time, to two very young girls. But once she realized that Bonnie was going through it, she locked in and, did everything she could to help Bonnie be able to see the light of day again. That's a real friend, and that's trying to give somebody real hope, and that's operating off of it. That's like willpower. That's operating off of your own hope. Yes, operating off of others' hope, but definitely operating off of your own hope as well. Same with Bonnie. Bonnie, just like I said before, she's had to go through so much, and she's obviously had to hold on to hope at all different types of levels. Yeah, some people have let her down. Her mom, her dad, a lot of her friends here and there, but instead of giving up, she kept it pushing, man. And yes, that's willpower, but I feel like with willpower, you got to have a little bit of hope. You got to be willing to climb yourself out of it, and you got to be able to say, there's going to be a brighter day. And she has. There's been multiple times where she was in that hospital and locked up. She was undercover, yeah, but she knew that she was going to be able to get to the bottom of what was going on in Mystic Falls at the time. When she was the Huntress, it might have been the only time when she probably didn't have that much hope. So that's probably around the time that she would have lost that power. But outside of that, every situation that she has been in, she's had to believe that she could be stronger. When she was locked in that prison world, she almost took herself out of there. But yeah, and it took a little bit of Jeremy, but that's someone else's hope. And he gave her that back too. And she was able to fight and fight and fight and get herself out of that prison world, y'all. We thought somebody was gonna come save her. Every time she was let down, she saved herself. You gotta have something in you that makes you want to keep pushing forward. And I believe that she would fit perfectly. I believe that those three would fit perfectly in the Blue Lantern Corps. But I got one more. Lexi. Lexi always believed Stefan can be better. Lexi believed anybody could be better. Because remember when in a flashback when Damon turned his emotions off, the first thing that Stefan did was call Lexi, and Lexi was there to try to help Damon out. She heard what Stefan said. She felt like Damon could get his emotions back on. She felt like she had hope that she could get him back on track and maybe get him to be better than what he was before. At the end of the day, I believe that the hope and that all the good emotions and the way that Lexi was in life is what led her to a life of peace in the afterlife, and essentially was able. She left some marks on Stefan, and that's what allowed him to be able to find peace in the afterlife as well. I promise y'all we're almost done. It's a few of these. Next up is the Indigo Tribe. You can say the Indigo Corps, but it's the Indigo Tribe. Don't be lame. Say it right. What I do like is that the Indigo Tribe, I'm gonna say Corps for you non-nerds. Theirs is in a different language. I'm not gonna try to read that, but there are translations, so I'm gonna read that. So give me 1 second. Following empty days in the blackest nights, we follow after Natrumo's sight. Guided by Abensur's teaching right, may compassion lead you with indigo light. Yeah, I know I stumbled on that a little bit, but that's because, like I said, it was like there's names and stuff like that. Mind your business. Shut up. I can read. Like I was saying, there's compassion from the Indigo Tribe. Like their emotion is compassion. That's what they drive off of. Elena could be put in that. You got to have some type of compassion to become a doctor. All of everything about Elena's story has led her to becoming a doctor in the first place. So you got to have compassion there, which she has. You know, she showed love to people who didn't. She tried to appeal to people's bad sides when it just was no point into it. Esther, Klaus, Rebecca, she's tried to appeal to people. She's tried to have compassion, but it's when people, throw it back at her faces where she's like, oh, So I don't see her having the compassion ring for too long, but that, for a while at least, probably longer than the other ones, if you ask me. I feel like Hope probably would have been Elena's last one, but I do think compassion would have been with her for quite some time, especially with her going into the field of becoming a doctor and wanting to save lives. I wasn't gonna bring her in too much, but Joe Parker, or Laughlin, but Joe Parker for the most part, she counts as being compassionate. Again, I do feel like some of our main characters who were doctors, and Joe wasn't playing no games. Like she will stop she's a doctor. Of course, she'll stop and save a life. But Joe wasn't playing no games. She didn't even want her magic at some point. And to make sure everybody else stayed safe, especially her siblings, and to take Kai on and protect the rest of what was their names? Gemini Coven. She took her magic back. She practiced her magic to fight Kai off. It's unfortunate that she died because I really did like her, with Alaric especially. I guess if it was for the plot, it was for the plot. It was a stupid plot, but we had plenty of stupid plots in the Vampire Diaries. That's not my business. That's an argument for Julie Plec one day. She went into the nursing world knowing about supernatural, but not, thinking about it. Knowing that after the night that she had where all of her siblings pretty much were offed by her twin, she probably developed mad compassion for other people. And I think growing up, that's her twin brother, for crying out loud. I wish they would have dipped more into like her and Kai's like background, but growing up, that's her twin brother, and you got to see like how people ostracize him, how your parents treat him, the fact that they keep having kids because of him. So I feel like she probably, the same way that Rebecca and Elijah tried to be there for Klaus as they were growing up, I'm sure that Joe tried to be there for Kai. Obviously, until enough is enough. Like you can't have too much compassion. There's got to be a capacity. You know what I mean? And the last one is Bonnie. I can't say it enough. Bonnie is the girl. Like Bonnie, all these emotions that we've gone through, we see it in Bonnie every time. Every time something bad is done to her, she takes that as a lesson to help prevent that from someone else, to help someone else, to keep someone else from feeling the same bad emotion that she felt. When she holds on to stuff, she lets it go. The only person who did her dirty and she did them real dirty back was Kai. And she tried. I swear to beans that girl tried. But when she realized he was a psycho, it wasn't no more trying. The boy is crazy. And the boy got crazy. Which, another thing I'm really mad at. Side note, they should have been a couple. He should not have been that psychotic. But I guess when you slaughter your siblings in your background story, what can we really expect in your future, I feel like this one right here probably would have been the one that lasted the longest. And probably a couple of them have been, a couple lanterns in DC history have been able to wield 2 or more rings at once. I do feel like she probably would have held on to Compassion always and rotated the other ones out. So I feel like Compassion would have been the one that she definitely would have had from the jump. So yeah, those are my top picks for Compassion. We get two more rings, actually. The White Lantern Corps. Promise is not racist. Hold up. At the end of night, at the break of day, all fear of death shall fade away. Life long lost shall show its might. Now return, White Lantern's light. The thing about the White Lanterns is that they are all about life. That's what gives them their powers. But the other thing is that they have to have pretty much control over all of the other colors in the spectrum. They have to have mastered all the other rings. They have to have gone through all of these emotions, figured out how to have these emotions. I think the only one is probably greed that's like a here and there, but the only person that I'm putting in this category is Bonnie Bennett. I'm sorry. And I know I didn't put Bonnie in greed because she's never really shown greed, but I do feel like she had to have felt at some point that I want this for me. I want to say no for me. So while she may not have necessarily been greedy, at some point there is such a thing as wanting the best for yourself. So she probably knows what that probably feels like and tastes like. So I could see why if she would master that but quickly get over that. But being the White Lantern and being all about life and keeping balance, that's a whole thing about being a witch in the Vampire Diaries, is that you have to be able to keep the balance between the natural and the supernatural. They're all about balance and rebirth and protecting life. And when you talk about rebirth, like I mentioned earlier, Bonnie has died and come back, died and come back, died and come back multiple times, or got trapped in another universe and came back. She's all about protecting life. That is her thing. Her final, real moment in the Vampire Diaries was her sending Hellfire back to hell to protect Mystic Falls. But yeah, when it comes to the White Lantern Corps, the only person that I could see in the Mystic Falls universe and the Vampire Diaries universe, and to be honest, I don't even see it in. Like I said, I have to do a separate one if you guys want to see one for the originals and maybe for legacies. But the only one I really see being able to do it is Bonnie for the most part, like a legend in her own right. Am I biased a little bit? Maybe, probably, I don't know. But if you feel like I'm biased, go back and rewatch the show and act like Bonnie didn't go through all of these emotions. She went through the entire emotional spectrum. She should be able to wield this kind of power. Even when it comes to magic, she wielded. Do you remember there was a time in like season 3 or 4 when they were talking about the cure and Bonnie had her regular magic? She had that expression magic that weirdo Shane taught her, and she had control over dark magic. And her grandmother told her not to do all of that. And she OD'd because of Jeremy and passed away the first time. But had she not had to save Jeremy's life, that girl probably would still have, and she probably still does have knowledge of all three. She's probably somebody who taps into it if she could, but she has absolute knowledge of all three of them. So, of course, she can wield a bunch of rings at one damn time. Y'all better quit playing with that girl. Then we got the last one. The last one is the Black Ring. Again, not racist, but its dominion is death. Hold up. The blackest night falls from the skies. The darkness grows as all light dies. We crave your hearts and your demise. By my black hand, the dead shall rise. This one's easy too. The Black Lantern Corps, zombies. Everybody who died, but they had beef and like a score to settle. And yeah, like if you go back and look at some of the comics, it's pretty much if you died in a nasty way, you had beef, and you got to score. Like I said, you got to score to settle, and you just want to make your ops know that they're the ops and run down on them, And we got a whole list of people. Silas is definitely one of them. Like the boy came back multiple times. Ketsia, I should have mentioned Ketsia earlier in Rage. Oh, that was my girl. She was petty. Ketsia is another one. Catherine is another one. I don't even really go into the 3 of their stories. They got beef with a lot of people. They got beef with lots of people. That white light Bonnie definitely is versus the Black Ring Catherine in that finale, because Catherine was pretty much the big bad at the very end. Aunt Jenna, I said it. Aunt Jenna, because girl, no, you didn't die with your niece and your nephew lying to you about everything after your sister just passed away, and you decided to move in and take care of them and help them with everything and help them get along, and they've been lying about the supernatural world. And so does your boyfriend, who was also a supernatural hunter, but he decided that he wanted to keep lying to you, and the only reason that you found out all of this stuff existed is because the original vampire, after you just found out vampires existed, the original vampire, the original hybrid, after you just found out vampires and werewolves existed, the original hybrid kidnaps you and makes you a part of his grand master plan, and then offs you. Bitch, I'm. They lucky I'm not their uncle, because I'd have been back with a vengeance. Aunt Jenna's one of them. Hold on. I got my list. Hold up. We've had a lot of people die. Kai didn't die till later, but he's definitely somebody who would have came back. If they were a whole little squad, if they were a little group, Silas, Catherine, Kai, Aunt Jenna, Michael Michelson, that's a long list of people. That is a long list of people. So let's get into the recap right now. So for our Green Lanterns, if we're talking about sheer willpower and being able to have discipline, we got Stefan, Matt, Alaric, and Bonnie. I think I said one more, but those are my four. The Lantern Corps, which is based off of fear, that's where they get their power from. Catherine, Klaus, Kai, and like I said, you should be scared of Bonnie when she's at her peak, but she's not gonna always use that against you. The Red Lantern Corps, fueled by rage. Tyler, Damon in his early seasons. Michael Michelson. And like I said, Bonnie could be in that category too. The girl got a lot of pent up anger, a lot of pent up rage. The Star Sapphire Corps, who's based off of love. We got Enzo, we got Caroline, we got Stefan, and again, we have Bonnie. She's back. The Indigo Tribe, based off of compassion. We got Joe, we got Elena, we got Bonnie Bennett. The Orange Lantern Group, which is off of, like I said, just being greedy for the most part. We got Catherine, we got Silas, and like I said, Bonnie could have been in that group as well. I feel like she probably has felt that at some point in life, wanting to take charge in her own hands, but you know, or wanting to say no to her friends, but decided to pass by that emotions. The White Lantern Corps, again, talking about life, rebirth, balance. The only person I saw in that was Bonnie, and that's it. That's all. And the last one is death. Ooh, baby, can we even? Who gonna come back to life? Let me see you. Who we just said? Silas, Catherine, Kai. Aunt Jenna should be at the very front. Aunt Jenna should be at the very front. Michael Michelson. Who else from the Vampire Diaries? Uncle Mason. I forgot to mention him. Uncle Mason, Tyler's uncle. Damn, I wish him and Jenna would have got together. Ugh. I'm sorry. That's from way back then. Uncle Mason had a reason to come back and have beef. Damon ain't have to do that to him. He would have, which he did come back at some point. Oh, there was that episode in that finale where a lot of them did come back. I mean, Enzo could have came back at some point because he essentially his story did lead to him die. So yeah, Enzo could come back too because he would also have beef with Stefan. Boy, them Salvatore brothers. Anybody who would have come back for the Black Lantern Corps, they was coming straight for the Salvatore brothers first. I believe like. The only one who I don't think would have came back was Liz. And you know what? I should have put Liz on this, but again, I might just have to save that for a part 2. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have finally gotten to the end of what if the Vampire Diaries, or at least a lot of the Vampire Diaries group in Mystic Falls, came across the DC comic books universe and they got lantern rings. I hope you guys enjoyed this time with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was entertaining to you. If it was, like I said earlier, please like the video, subscribe to the video. Hey, ring the little bell. The next time I post something, you guys will already know about it. I got a whole bunch of other things planned for you guys. Technical difficulties. Okay, we're working through it. I'm just gonna have to thug it out until I can figure it out. But if you have hung in there this long, you guys, I sincerely appreciate it. I have to remember to put my social media stuff down here at the bottom so you guys know where to follow me at and where to keep up with me. You guys be blessed out there. Stay safe out there. It's the summertime. It's getting hot, so make sure you're drinking some water, okay? Thank you guys for coming to chill in the Chocolate Milk Corner, and I will chat with you guys at a later date.